Alright, welcome back. This video is meant to help you with activity 3.8, statistics and quality. Alright, so remember, our goal in this assignment is to use statistics to basically determine which wooden cubes are not within the acceptable size limits. In other words, we need to get rid of the rejects, the ones that are too big or too small. Alright, so hopefully by now you've measured, 27 wooden blocks. And hopefully you measured them with the grain, okay, between your two caliper ends here. Okay, so make sure they're wood grain. If you didn't do this, you have to do it again. Okay, you've measured them with the wood grain going from caliper end to caliper end. All right, and also you've measured them to the thousands place here, tens, hundreds, thousands place, as specified in your directions here, thousandths of an inch. Once you have all the blocks measured, okay, first thing we want to do here is we need to use Excel, okay, to perform a statistical analysis of the data to determine each of the following: the mean, median, mode, range, and the standard deviation. Okay, so what you're going to want to do is first let's open up a new Excel document here. Let's go to all programs and go to Microsoft Office. All right, and go to Excel. Okay, so launch an Excel spreadsheet here. Okay, and we want a blank worksheet. Notice up here for the columns, they are letters, A, B, C, and D, and so forth. And for the rows, we have numbers 1, 2, and 3, and whatnot. All right, so in Excel, we can assign each part of our table here a value, right? So B2, you can see it up here. Okay, it's kind of like Battleship, right? You guys have hopefully all played Battleship, or D5 and whatnot. Okay, so first thing we want to do, let's go ahead and type our name. All right, I'm going to space these out a little bit more. Okay, and let's write activity 3.8. Same thing, I'm going to space them out a little more here. Okay. All right, so let's click on B3 here and type in cube number. And let's click on C3 here and click on and type in side length. Okay. Now let's come back to our assignment here. For wooden cube 1, it had a length of 0.760 inches. Okay, so cube number 1 from B4, type in 1, and over here, C4, type in 0.760 inches. Okay, and for cube 2, see what we got? 0.761 inches. Okay, do this for all 27 cubes. So go ahead and hit pause on this video, and when you're ready to resume, when you have this done, go ahead and hit play. All right, now let's clean this column up a little bit. So let's go ahead and drag and highlight all this whole column here, and let's right click on it, hit format cells, okay, and go to number, and we want decimal places. Let's make that 3 decimal places. Okay, and hit OK. And now notice, okay, we have a nice, uniform column here, and everything has 3 decimal places. All right. Remember to save as you do this. All right, so now we want to find the sum of our values. So right here, go ahead and type in sum, and then over here, okay, let's click on that box or cell, come up here and select your function button, okay, and you're going to do a search, type in sum, go, okay, and hit OK. All right, and then go ahead and highlight the boxes here that you want to add up and hit OK. All right, and there you go. All right, let's look back at our assignment now. To complete number 2 here, we need to find the mean, median, mode, and range standard deviation of our data set here. But to find the range, we're also going to need the minimum and the maximum. Okay, so let's come back to our Excel sheet over here. So right over here, I'm just going to write mean, median, and mode. Okay, and remember to do the range, we're going to need our minimum and our maximum. And then we can type in our range and then our standard deviation. And I'm going to widen this column here a little bit. Okay. Now let's start finding the mean, median, mode, the minimum, maximum, range, and standard deviation for our data set here. So click here on G4, all right, cell G4, and then we're going to come up to our function button, okay, and we're going to search for mean, which is basically another word for average. So let's type in average, hit enter, okay, it's highlighted, hit OK. Okay, and now this is asking us what cells or numbers do we want to use. Well, we want to use our data set values, so we're going to highlight all of them. Okay, hit OK, and there we have our mean. Let's do the same for median here. Click here, go to your function, okay, type in median, hit go. Here it is, it's highlighted, hit OK. And once again, we want to highlight our data set values here. Okay, hit OK. And there's our median. Okay, let's find the mode. Okay, hit function. Type in mode. Okay, go. Hit OK. Highlight our values. Hit OK. All right. And the minimum, same thing, except you're just going to type in MIN, min, and hit go. Hit OK. Okay, highlight our values. Hit OK. Now it basically went through all these values and found the lowest one, which is 0.745. Our maximum value, you could just look through them and type it in, or you could let Excel do it for you. So type in max, enter, hit OK, go through them, hit OK. And our range, okay, we're going to come back to the range here in a second, but let's go ahead and do the standard deviation. So click here on G10, function, okay, standard deviation, okay, hit go, here it is, hit OK, all right, and once again highlight our data, hit OK, and there we have it. All right, so our range here, let's click on G9. Our range is the difference between the maximum minus the minimum. So let's make a function that basically will put that value in cell G9 here. So let's go up here, type equals, click on our maximum, okay, click up here, hit the minus sign, and then click on our minimum, and then hit enter, okay, and there's our range of values from our lowest value to our highest value. It's important to remember that your values are obviously going to be different, right? You have different measurements in your data set, so your values will be different. They should be similar though. All right, so one thing we need to do real quick before we move on is to check your add-ins here. So go to File, go to Options, okay, come on down here to Add-ins, all right, Excel add-ins, and then just select Go, and then make sure this analysis tool pack is checked. If it's not checked, check it. If it's already checked, well, then you're good. All right, and then just select OK. Let's look back at our assignment. So we've found these values for our data set. Now we need to move on to number 3. We need to create a histogram to represent our data. And we need to create 7 to 10 intervals or bin values. Okay, and once again, we have to label our axes on our graphs. All right, so I'm going to try to create 8 intervals or bin values. All right, so try to follow along here. So Um, over here, let's write bin or intervals. Okay. Now over here, I'm just going to randomly click. All right. Now we need to take our range value. All right. And we need to divide this. If we want 8 intervals, we need to divide our range by 8. Okay. So let's click here, come up here, hit equals. Okay. And then select on our range divided by 8. And then hit enter. Now this is our interval value. All right. We'll have 8 of these. Okay. In our bins. All right, so let's start creating our 8 intervals. So click here and let's type in our minimum value of our data set. So 0.745. All right, now click down below it in the cell. All right, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to come up here and hit the equal sign. Okay, we're going to take our minimum value, add it here to our interval here. Okay, but instead of the cell, we're going to round that to 0.003. Okay, hit enter. Now you could do this 8 times to give you 8 bins, or you can click here, hit copy. Okay, go down here. Okay, then right click and hit. Now you need this formula one. Okay, so the f of x and hit paste. Okay, and then your last value is going to be your maximum value. Okay, your 0.767. Real quick, let's make all of these with 3 decimal places like we did previously. So right click, format cells, hit on number, 3 decimal places, hit OK. Okay, now it's nice and uniform. Remember, it's entirely up to you how many bins or intervals you wanted to create. I created 8. You may have used 10. It's up to you. All right, so let's go ahead and come on up here to data. We're going to create our histogram now. So go to data, go to data analysis. Make sure histogram is selected. Hit OK. Okay, it's asking for our input range, which is going to be, okay, right here. So your data set. Now for your bin range, well, we just created those. So hit there, and then we're going to use those. And then for our output range, well, where do we want our graph to go? I'm going to put it right here. Okay, make it nice and aligned. Make sure that chart output box is selected. Okay, and hit OK. Okay, now we got a nice little histogram going here. All right. All right, now I'm going to make a few changes to my graph here. Okay, I want to skew it so it's a little bit higher. All right, I'm going to change this to length in inches. Okay, and over here, we're going to call this number of cubes. All right, looks pretty good. Feel free to mess with yours and change some of the features here. Let's come back at our assignment here. So we've completed number 3. We've labeled our axes and all that. So print a copy of your Excel or definitely save it as a PDF and email it to yourself, okay, when you're done here. And now let's look at number 5. Does your data appear to be normally distributed? Justify your answer. So I'm going to show you a picture here. Here is a normal distribution. It's got that nice bell-shaped curve. Okay, if we come to our graph, yeah, it's pretty normally distributed. Okay, so it's got a pretty nice bell-shaped curve, a few little outlier points out here. Okay, so if yours doesn't have that, explain why. Do you have more of your data set is in the right? Is it more skewed to the right? Is it more skewed to the left? Okay, explain. And then our next assignment now, our next question, excuse me, okay, has to do with standard deviation here. Now, number 6, read it carefully. Based on past experience, 95% of the wooden blocks received from the manufacturer are within acceptable dimension limits. However, 5% of the blocks are either too big or too small. When these out of tolerance, in other words, these are out of spec, they're too big, they don't fall within the accepted range, okay? When these out of spec or out of tolerance pieces are used to construct a puzzle prototype, the puzzle pieces do not fit well together. And in some cases, the puzzle cannot be solved because of the incorrectly sized wooden cubes. Okay, so our goal here is to find the 5% of our data set that is rejects. Okay, 95% of them are acceptable. We need to find the 5% that are rejects. Okay, and we need to express our answer using plus minus notation and then express our answer using a compound inequality. Now, try to do these on your own. If you still need help, continue to watch the video. Okay, now the key word here is assuming a normal distribution, determine a criterion of side length values such that approximately 95% of the wooden cubes supplied by the manufacturer will meet your criteria. All right, so let's come back to our thing here. Now here's where our standard deviation comes in handy. Okay, so remember, standard deviation is the variation, okay, between our blocks, okay, in length of inches. So let's come over here, okay, over here, let's type our median, our average, excuse me, our mean, our average value here, which is 0.754. All right, now, as it turns out, if you've had statistics, you might know this. If not, I'm here to remind you. Assuming a normal bell-shaped curve, which is, our data is pretty, okay, bell-shaped. If yours isn't, it's okay. Let's assume it is. All right. 68% of the values or distribution lies within one standard deviation of the mean. 95% of the distribution lies within two standard deviations of the mean. Okay. So we need to find, okay, two standard deviations from our mean. So let's click over here. All right. Let's come up here, hit an equal sign, hit the mean. All right. And then we're going to type in a plus sign. And then we're going to hit our standard deviation, which is our variation. Hit that. And then we're going to come back up here, type in another plus sign because we need two standard deviations. Once again, click on your standard deviation value and hit enter. Okay. Now we're going to come over here on the other side of our mean or average. Once again, come up here, hit an equal sign, type in, okay, our mean, and then we're going to type in minus our standard deviation, and once again another minus, and hit our standard deviation because we need two standard deviations from the mean. This will give us 95%, okay, that we need, and then hit enter. Now, 95% of our blocks lie within these two values, 0.742 and 0.766. So that must mean the other 5%, okay, fall out of these values. Now, so your job now is once you've obtained these two values, okay, go over to your data set and find which one, all right, is not within these values. Which one does not fall between these two values? And I can see right here, it's cube 7. So that's our reject. That's the one we don't want to use in our product. Okay? So that is our reject. So take this cube number 7 out, or whichever one it is for you. It could be cube number 13. It could be number cube 13 and 14. You might have had two of them. Okay, so take your rejects out and throw them back in with the others. Get another cube that is within the acceptable means, the 95%. Okay, so just to reiterate here, put this into perspective. Okay, your graph, 95% of what we want is within this yellow line. Okay, the rejects lie outside here for this yellow line. Those are the ones we're removing within 2 standard deviations of variation. Okay, I hope that graph kind of helps out a little bit. Okay, now we need to make our statements here. So it's a plus or minus statement. 95% of the blocks fall between 0.742 and 0.766, which is plus or minus 2 standard deviations from the mean. Okay, right here. Now we need to use some different notation here. Now we need to use a compound inequality. Okay, so what we're going to do is type 0.742. Okay, let's come up here to home, and we're looking for symbols. Insert symbol. Okay, insert, close. Okay, shift X, we're going to say X is our acceptable values. Okay, once again, let's insert symbol. Okay, insert and then close, space, and our final value 0.766. Okay, these are within 2 standard deviations. This is our acceptable, our good blocks we want. Okay, remember, anything outside of this is a reject, and we found it, cube 7. Okay, if you have any questions, remember to ask 3 before you ask me. Look at the PowerPoints. Remember, the PowerPoints are a great resource, and then come ask me, and I'm more than happy to help. Thanks for watching.